Welcome to Good Game, your no BS insights for crypto founders.
Hey, what do you think of this idea? One of the founders pitched me this idea. You wear the AI glasses, and there's an app that tells you when you walk into a conference, it tells you this person who's coming up to you and wants to talk to you the person is not worth talking to.
I would wear that. I would wear it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
So the app would do some facial recognition and then look up his LinkedIn or socials or whatever, and then gives you a score. Like what's the probability that you should be talking to this person?
100%. I would argue it does get rid of spontaneous conversations, serendipity.
Yeah.
And I do think that's important for creativity and sparks happen when this stuff happens, right? So I do think that's important. Real quick before we dive in, the next Alliance cohort is closing applications. If you're a founder building on the cutting edges like crypto, AI, or robotics, please apply at alliance.xyz to get started on your founder journey. Welcome to Good Game. It's been 4 months now since we last spoke.
Well, only 4 months?
Well, when did we stop? We stopped in May, right? Okay. Was it May? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so people are asking, why did we stop? I think a couple of reasons. One, I think there was just too much work going on within Alliance. Two, I think crypto Twitter
is dead.
I mean, there are certain pockets that are still thriving, but overall, it's kind of dead. Three, I think we kind of got bored, right?
Yeah.
And so we needed some time to reset. We started the pod back during, I think this was even before SBF blew up.
Okay.
So it's been some time since we actually took a long break. And we're not sure how long, what our rhythm's going to be. It could be 1 month, once a month. It could be once every 2 months. We're still trying to figure that out. But that's kind of some of the reasons why we kind of decided to pause for a bit.
But you're not bored anymore. So
we're not bored anymore.
So what do you want to talk about? What do you want to start with?
I mean, so much has happened. Maybe we should start with, where do we think we are in the cycle?
Okay. What do you think?
Everybody wants to know about our market calls. I think that was the most asked. Where do we think we are? Ansem's calling for the top, has called for the top. There's about 7 days left before the 4-year cycle is over. Bitcoin is shitting the bed right now. Aster's is doing pretty well as a fellow bag holder. But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, if that was the top, that would have been the most pathetic top of all time. So you can't. The universe wouldn't allow that.
It sounds right to me. We need something.
I think if we get a big dump, let's say 20% in BTC and 20% in SPX, we might get one, and then that will make everyone feel it's truly over. But I think we're gonna have a final blow off top, a truly spectacular one,
where all of the top callers buy back in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way for the simulation to play out.
Yeah.
I can't see any other way. That was pathetic. If last month or if September was the top of the 4-year cycle, that would have been really pathetic.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like people are aggressively trying to call the top every moment they get.
Because it's been a shitty cycle. Everyone lost money. Everyone who doesn't hold Bitcoin has lost money. I tweeted this the other day. I said, you don't actually think that the cycle is over.
Yeah.
You want the cycle to be over.
Yeah.
It's been so painful.
And people are jaded. I mean, I think a ton of people made a ton of money as well, right? I mean, if you think about Pepe with Aster most recently, and I mean, there's a ton of other projects or meme coins also, like Moodang and Peanut, etc.
I do think there's quite a bit of froth in the stock market with this whole incestuous relationship between NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Oracle, for those who followed.
I thought that was a interesting. I didn't consider it like a red flag, but it was notable.
For me, it was one of the. I don't think this was the top, but it was one of those top signs.
Yeah.
are like one of the things that make me nervous. But it was only last week that I started to feel that we've entered the bubble territory in the stock market, in AI specifically. Like half a year ago, I thought that AI was fine, the stock market was fine, even if it was richly valued. I didn't think it was frothy. But now it's starting to feel like we just entered the bubble territory. And the thing is, there could still be like a few months, like could be 6 months or even a much longer before, like from now, from the beginning of the frothy phase to the pico top. And remember, like back in 1996, Alan Greenspan, the then Fed chair, coined the term irrational exuberance.
Yes.
And that was 4 years before the pico top of the dot-com bubble. So 4 years before, people felt, bubbly. So this thing can still go on for a while. I do think that it's not the time to add risk. It's certainly time for, like, I'll tell you what I did. So back in January, we had like our last pot, or maybe one of the last pots in January, and I said I took maybe 5% off, give or take, and you took some money off the table as well. And so that was that. And then last month I took another 5% off. So I'm scaling back for sure, but it's really hard to call the top.
I was recently listening to a pod Zuck was on, Mark Zuckerberg, and he said that he was asked if we were in an AI bubble, point blank, and this is how he responded: if we end up misspending a couple of $100 billion, I think that is going to be very unfortunate, obviously, but I actually think the risk is higher on the other side. If you build too slowly and then super intelligence is possible in 3 years, but you built it out assuming it would be there in 5 years, then you're just out of position on what I think is going to be the most important technology in history. So it's more of like a competitive spending, right? Like you have to spend. Like if you don't spend, your competitors are going to spend, and there's going to be, the fruit at the end of the tunnel, which is like AGI in certain regards.
Assuming it's going to happen, but
assuming, that's right.
It's a big assumption.
Yeah.
Separately, Larry Page said something similar, very similar to what Zuck said.
Okay.
And a bunch of other CEOs of big public companies said the same thing. So, but at some, like if I were them, I would do the same thing. But at some point, this whole spending in CapEx will overshoot, and then the market will mean revert. That's always going to happen. We just don't know when.
Satya actually stopped spending on CapEx. He mentioned it specifically. He says that we stopped building out data servers. We're actually scaling back, and we're leveraging our partners. Okay. Is what he said. So I always felt like Satya was a bit more rational in terms of how he operates.
Yeah.
Versus, obviously the founder-led CEOs.
Yeah, he's more of a manager mode. Whereas Zuck and Larry Page are the founders. That's actually one of the. It's not anecdotal. It's one of the biggest differences between founder-led and manager-led CEOs.
Yep. Although Satya has been performing really well, in my opinion.
Yep, he crushed it. He crushed it with Azure. With he grew the enterprise business really well.
Yep, and Microsoft, he was early on OpenAI too.
And OpenAI, it was very early on OpenAI. I think he did really well. But the other red flag that I saw last week or this week was that Alibaba has been doing really well in AI, like with QN.
I sold the bottom.
Yeah, you sold the bottom. By the way, I think Alibaba is still not expensive. The price multiple is like under 20. So I think it's still okay. But anyway, Alibaba announced a $50 billion investment in AI over the next 3 years. And that day, the market cap of Alibaba went up by 50 billion. And that was, for me, that was kind of ridiculous because half a year ago, if one of those big companies announced a big investment in AI or in CapEx, the price of the stock would generally go down a bit.
Yep.
But this week, the Alibaba announcement actually made the price go up. And I thought we've probably entered the bubble territory.
But I also feel like Chinese AI companies are historically undervalued compared to US.
Chinese companies are undervalued in general, but sometimes for good reasons.
Is that more on the just like government risk?
I think it's government risk,
Okay.
by and large. By and large.
But I mean, they pushed out recently Qwen 3 as well, like their version of ChatGPT that's apparently doing really well.
Yeah.
If you've seen that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good progress there. Oh, interestingly, I was just reading. Oh, I just watched one of Eric Schmidt's, the ex-CEO of Google, his pod.
On All In?
No, it was just like this random podcaster. I don't know who he was, but
yeah.
He said a couple things which I thought was very interesting when comparing U.S. to China, and he pretty much called out U.S. for historically being behind in AI, and this is specifically because of energy consumption and production. He said that China is like 10 times ahead in terms of energy production, whereas U.S. is behind. U.S. needs about 92 gigawatts in order to fulfill, by 2030, to fulfill all of the AI demand that's going to get, and we're nowhere near it.
Yeah. By the way, the general population doesn't have a good sense of what 90 gigawatts means. It means something ridiculously big. Like 1 gigawatt is like 600 football fields.
Yeah.
So imagine 600 times 90 football fields.
It's insane. Yeah. And then he also made an argument of like nuclear energy, where you need at least one nuclear power plant to get roughly like 1 or 2 gigawatts.
Yep.
And he said that we're like, the US hasn't even started.
Yep.
And so like we're very behind in terms of that.
So, right now, the bottleneck for US and China are actually different. The bottleneck for the US is energy.
Yeah.
And the bottleneck for China is access to the cutting edge chips.
Chips and hardware. And I mean, like hardware production, they're really good. But Schmidt argued that we actually excel in hardware design.
Say that again?
He said that he mentioned that we in the US, like we as in the US, excel in like hardware design.
Yep.
The design side, not the fabrication building. Yeah. That's what China is really good at.
The fabrication is Taiwan.
It's Taiwan. Yeah.
China is behind on both design and fab.
Yeah. So he mentioned that, but he also called out some like our what you call our dark horse, which is Amazon and robotics.
Yes.
And he said that Amazon, and you said this yesterday, which it actually aligns with everything that we're saying, which is that if anyone can lead robotics in the US, it will be Amazon.
Yeah. And no one is talking about Amazon.
No one is talking about Amazon.
Everyone thinks of Tesla as the number one robotics play. And it's probably right for humanoids, but for industrial robotics, Amazon is by far the number one. They've been at that game for like 2 decades.
Yeah. So I think the two really good investments, if you want to get into robotics in the US, is probably going to be Tesla and Amazon on the front end, back end. So, let's talk a bit about robotics. Obviously, like I saw some, I forgot who it was. Somebody said that all the wealthy crypto people are going to become exit liquidity for robotics. I think it was Chang DeFi or I forgot his name, but I saw one of his tweets. He's like,
by the way, last cycle was biotech and longevity.
Oh, that's right.
I was exit liquidity for last cycle.
Oh my God. Yeah, thankfully we didn't invest in any quote unquote robotic startups.
Yeah.
But we would be interested. But we haven't seen anything.
I think it's robotics. I feel like it's going to take a lot longer than people expect to play out.
And robotics historically, especially in the US, has to rely on China for manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I do feel like that is.
Let me tell you about a book that I read recently. You've probably seen it on Twitter. It's called trying to get the name right. It's called Breakneck: China's Quest to Engineer the Future.
Yeah.
You've seen it on Twitter, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So it's a book written by one of the best analysts of China.
Yeah.
And the book is a comparison of US and China. And the core thesis is, if I had to summarize everything in one sentence, is that the US is a lawyerly and China is an engineering country or state.
Which is pretty bad. Like, I mean.
But there's pros and cons with each, right? Like with a loyalty country, it takes a long time to get things done because you have all these processes,
Compliance.
regulations, compliance, laws. But the upside is a much stronger guarantee of
Monetization.
individual freedom and capitalism, and much stronger checks and balances against any sort of autocracy. China is the opposite. Things move very fast. You can build things very quickly, like solar, electric vehicles, all these things, and energy, all these things China excelled at over the last few years. But the downside is a constant threat to individual liberty, which we saw during COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it's a very interesting book. The author gave a lot of examples of what happened in both the US and in China to illustrate the loyalty versus engineering state idea. Very good book.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, historically, I see the US as more of a decentralized kind of system, right?
Yeah.
And whereas I see China as more of a very hyper centralized system, right?
Yeah.
Effectively, like it'll take it takes a lot of work to get something out to the market in the US because you need government support, policy support, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas with China, you can move fast, break things, and scale up really quickly. It's like an ultra capitalist country.
Yeah. Like China is almost a corporation.
It's like exactly corporation. So I agree. There are pros and cons to both. I think the biggest con for China is China. Whereas in the US,
this ties back to the robotics discussion, which is that probably the most creative and innovative ideas, like the initial idea and innovation will come from the US thanks to this strong protection of IP and individual creativity. But the scaling of robots will very likely happen in China instead.
I mean, you're seeing this even outside of robotics, right? We have the best ideas in the US, and then China takes the idea and improves on it and scales it out faster and better than in the US in certain regards.
Yeah.
So I think both feed to each other.
What else?
Okay, so that's what's happening on, say, macro AI. What's happening on the crypto side?
You want to talk about Aster?
Did you catch Aster?
I caught it because you caught it. They always launch these things at like 9 p.m. my time.
Yeah, your bedtime is 8 p.m. So
yeah, exactly. So like, bro, why? Like Trump was the same thing. Trump was the same thing.
Trump was like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Yeah, it was like I remember running home.
I tried to have a 2-hour. So in addition to my early bedtime, I tried to have a 2-hour no screen time. Because like screen time is really bad for sleep quality.
Yeah. Have you seen it improve?
For sure. Like whenever I use my phone or think about work right before bed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I just can't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
when
I
think
wake up
about
in the middle
work,
of the night.
Yeah. Then I get stressed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on my phone right till I go to sleep. So. But
anyway, Aster.
Yeah, caught it because Cooker Flips, he runs an alpha group called Pastel. He put up a tweet. I don't know, it was around like 20 cents or something. And I caught it. And then we caught it around, say, 35 cents. But yeah, interesting that as soon as CZ came back, he took off the X next to Binance. Like 48 hours later, he puts a heavy hand behind Aster. If you look at the market share, Hyperliquid is eating Binance's market share on the perp side, about 20%, right?
And it's been growing nonstop for the last 2 years.
Yeah. So that's number one. Number two is Spot with Hyperunit. Even Spot, in certain regards, are winning against some of the larger central exchanges. Definitely tier two. Like it's almost close to tier one volume in some of those asset classes. And so that is a threat to centralized exchanges. It's a threat to decentralized exchanges. It's a threat to everyone. I mean, if you ask me, I leave some money on Hyperunit or Hyperliquid just because I don't have to keep bridging back and forth between different assets. Mm-hmm. Because there's some assets I want to buy that are on Ethereum. There's some that are on Solana, and it almost mimics a centralized exchange because I can get access to any of these assets. Yep. So to me, and then number two is I want to farm Hyperunit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the playing field right now. And then you have Lighter that was, funded by A6 and Z and Lightspeed that launched their points program like 6 months ago, which leverages ZK. And then you have Avantis, which is on Base, and Edge or Edge X, I think, and then a couple of others. So that's the playing field right now. Yep. And it seems like this is like battle number 3 for perps, right? Remember the first battle with DYDX, and remember DMX. Perpetual Proto. Remember, I think that was battle number 2. Okay, the first battle I think was
2020, 2021.
Perpetual Protocol, I think, right?
Yeah.
DYDX.
Yeah.
And there was one other that was challenging DYDX, and the second was like GMX and like the pooled model, right? That became very popular. Yeah. And then now this is kind of the third war, and I feel like this is the more serious war.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 wars, you also have to think about it from a macro perspective. The regulations were very tight. People were scared to build, in this space. There wasn't really government oversight as to where perps would live and whether or not, you would be jailed forever. And so I feel like macro changed. Crypto has become progressively more accepted. And so more and more serious founders are coming to build in the space. Yeah. And I think this is roughly around the right time frame where perp dexes could actually overtake centralized exchanges. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. And you can tell how serious the threat is from CZ's reaction. I mean, CZ just played it masterfully. He never mentioned Hyperliquid. It just, like for him, like the image he wants to paint is that Hyperliquid is not a threat to Binance. So he threw this thing called Aster on the front line. And he's like, hey, you plebs are not even a challenge to Binance. You guys are merely competing with Aster. And now look at the numbers. Aster is ahead of you guys.
It's like US, Ukraine, and Russia.
Yeah, actually it is. It's a proxy war. Aster is the proxy war.
Yeah. And so I think this is the first real challenge for the Hyperliquid community. And we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of the founders that are building on Hyperliquid kind of come together, and they're staying resilient, which is good because this is like a good, true first test as to whether or not they can take on a very credible competitor. In my opinion, if they can go through this battle, they could very well be number 1, number 2 against whether it's going to be Aster or Lighter, whoever it is. We don't know what's going to be the end of this battle. But it seems like Hyperliquid is still positioned really well. They have the right community. They have the right builder ecosystem. The question is going to be whether or not where traders are going to go, because CZ knows traders and their incentives really well.
Yeah. And
all it takes is within, less than a week, they're like already, obviously like this is, you could argue that a lot of it is just farming and versus organic perp usage. But even then, like 3 times the amount of what Hyperliquid is doing in terms of trading volume is no easy feat, right?
Yeah, it's 3 times now.
Yeah. So the question is, will the experienced win or will the underdogs win is the question.
By the way, speaking of farming, I think one of the best metrics to look at is the trading volume versus open interest ratio. And right now, Hyperliquid has 10 times the open interest of Aster, but only a third of the trading volume, which tells you the magnitude of farming on Aster versus Hyperliquid. It's a lot of farming on Aster. And of course, there's a lot of farming on Hyperliquid as well. There's some farming on Hyperliquid. but there's like an order of magnitude more farming on Aster.
Yeah. The question is going to be: are people going to stay after the airdrop? Right.
Yep.
And if I was a betting man, I think CZ would probably know how to handle that transition.
Yep.
A perfect example of this is what he did with BNB. He made this into a burning mechanism that's directly tied to the revenue of the company. He made it where if you stake certain BNB, you get access to new opportunities, which effectively gives you more yield, quote unquote, through startup tokens that launch, and then a bunch of other stuff, right? Why couldn't Aster do the same thing is the question. Why couldn't Hyperliquid do the same thing is the next question, right? So I do feel as if the war here is to cannibalize centralized exchanges over time and or open up the market to a much bigger audience that has yet to see or trade crypto.
Yeah.
So I do think this is a pretty big battle.
It's a battle between Aster, Hyperliquid, and all these other decentralized perps, but but the real battle is all these decentralized perps versus the centralized exchanges.
That's right.
Because they've been gaining market share.
Yep.
The on-chain perps have been gaining market share nonstop for 2 years against centralized exchanges. I think this whole Aster versus Hyperliquid thing is actually a distraction. It's a distraction from the real battle. It's a proxy war.
Yeah. I just think that centralized exchanges are being threatened. And they have to do something if they want to get share, right? But in fact, Bybit also released Byreo, right, as an example, which is their exchange, like on-chain or decentralized exchange. Popular wallets include Binance Alpha, which is like a very popular wallet, like on-chain wallet. Bybit also has theirs. And I spoke to a lot of people in China, and from what I gathered and what they told me, that even just the Binance Alpha team or the Bybit's on-chain wallet team, there's like 1,000 people that are working 24/7.
Yep.
Like, it's just no comparison as far as how fast they're going to move to win this market.
Yep.
So I do feel as if I think they've already been strategically planning over the past 6 to 12 months as it is.
Likely. There's actually another proxy war going on, which is Binance versus Solana. And people don't talk about this because it's not immediately obvious that they're competitive with each other, right? Like one is a centralized exchange, the other one is a chain. But I almost know for a fact that CZ thinks that Solana is a threat to Binance. And we actually talked about this half a year ago with all this on-chain trading, because tokens are now being launched on-chain directly and traded on-chain. And CZ certainly doesn't want these tokens, or CZ doesn't want the users of Binance to be exit liquidity for the on-chain tokens. Right. And so I think there is a proxy war going on between Solana and what's it called again? PancakeSwap, and Solana versus Binance Alpha. I think CZ is doing a bunch of things to make sure that they're staying competitive against Solana without directly, showing people that Binance is being threatened.
And this also, just adding to your point, Solana did a partnership with Bybit to become their like de facto like front end exchange. I don't know if you saw that,
no.
But they made that partnership specifically to counter the Binance BSC and then all the other things that are happening specifically. No. And so that's kind of the Binance, Solana, even Base with Coinbase, if you think about it. And then we could talk about Robinhood too. There are all of these different players.
They're all competitive with each other.
They're all competitive with each other. And I'll talk about another acquisition in South Korea that I'll mention a bit. But you have Coinbase, and Base has become increasingly their like focal mission as far as why builders should build there. They converted their existing Coinbase like wallet into a social like financial app. And the concept there is like, social trading incentives, all of that is just going to become one. Robinhood also announced the same thing recently. And the approach they're taking is more of a social approach, which is we think trading and trading is going to become social, and so we're going to allow all the startups that are building on Base to use the Base app as a launching mechanism to get more users. And in fact, I tweeted this out yesterday, but Wasabi, one of our Alliance startups out of like batch number 13 or something, they launched on Base July, say 30th or something, 29th. And over the next 3 months, they went from like 4 million TVL to like 12 million TVL just from the distribution that the Base app brought.
Yeah.
And so I do think like all the competitive landscapes are going to look very different. Binance is going more perps, more institutional route. Coinbase is going more consumer route. Obviously, they have their perps play, but from what I've gathered, not a lot of utility or usage is happening in their derivatives exchange. Robinhood is going, I feel like they're taking more of a brokerage social approach, like consumer, like they want to become kind of the de facto brokerage, but also become eventually like hyper consumer focused, like social app. And then you have Upbit that just got acquired by the Google of South Korea yesterday. And they want to turn Upbit into a super financial app, like a consumer app as well.
Yep.
So that's kind of the global landscape that I see today.
Agreed, and nothing to add.
So where do you think this goes? How do you think this plays out?
I have no idea. I have no idea who's going to win. This does get me to think of something. The last few months, I read a ton of books on Warren Buffett. I've been tweeting about Warren Buffett nonstop for a few months. Warren Buffett, or actually it's Munger that said this, it's far better to own a business, a wonderful business at a fair price than a fair business at a wonderful price. And a wonderful business is one that has no competition, is a de facto monopoly. It's very hard to get commoditized. There's no competition because they have very strong economic moat. And I've been just thinking, our exchange businesses in crypto, it historically has been a really good business. But are they actually wonderful businesses by Munger's definition? And I think the answer is no, because I think there is some liquidity network effect, but that network effect basically diminishes very quickly after a certain point. And after that point, whatever the point is, they just start undercutting each other in fees. And they do all sorts of vampire attacks. And these things are extremely effective. Aster overtook Hyperliquid in like just a few days. And then, is there really a big differentiation between Coinbase and Robinhood?
So let me ask you a question. And I've been thinking a lot about this. What business has a moat in crypto? In crypto?
I think there's the projects that don't have a token. Can we include those?
Or
only token products?
Both.
Any projects?
Let's highlight both sides, and then we can argue.
I think custody companies have a very strong moat because that requires a lot of trust, and it's very lengthy. So, for example, if you store your money at Coinbase custody, that's a very good business. All the ETFs do that, by the way. All the ETFs store their Bitcoin with Coinbase custody. So that's one very good business. Another very good business is lending. Lending protocols, I think, is a very good business because once again, it requires a lot of trust. Like lending is very different from trading because lending, when you use a lending protocol, you actually store your money there. When you use a trading protocol, once you're done with the trade, you can just withdraw into your wallet. So you don't need to trust the protocol as much as you need to trust the lending protocol. So I think Aave has a very strong moat. It's a very good business. Camino is a very good business on Solana. I think Tether is probably a very good business, barring the fact that they're so dependent on the interest rate. Like if the interest rate, exactly, if the interest rate was constant, then I think Tether is a really, really good business. Because again, it requires trust. People need to trust that Tether, their Tether that they hold in their wallet is not going away. Everything else, I think, very little moat, very easy to disrupt.
I mean, even like Tether now, I don't know how much they have in the balance sheet, 50 billion, something crazy. Yeah,
By the way,
now
did you see the news of $500 billion raise?
$500 billion. Like, I think Tether at this point is too big to fail, right? But like, I'm seeing so many stablecoin startups launching that's doing stablecoin as a service, as a model. Even I think Rain is thinking about that as well, or something like that. But like, the stuff, everyone is thinking about doing it. Just now, Cloudflare just announced they're going to launch a stablecoin as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see where that plays out.
Yeah.
I agree on the custody side. Although I do think the Lindy is going to go further down the stack to like traditional players like BNY Mellon and
Sure.
right. So I think like the first mover's advantage was great for Anchorage and Coinbase custody, but I think if it just plugs into historical plays, then a lot of the traditional banking partners are gonna just offer this as a service.
Yep.
Lending, yes, I agree. Lending is the only thing that I feel like has Lindy, and like I only trust Aave and Camino. I can't. Maybe it's just PTSD from like Cream and whatever Ironforge or whatever the hell it was. I forgot what it was.
Cream got hacked 3 times. Remember?
Yeah, I think I was doing it the first time to farm it or something, and I got screwed on it.
You got screwed more than once?
Just once.
Okay.
Never. After that, I said, "Fuck that! I'm never trusting."
Yeah. I feel like the third time was not a hack. The third time was like the founder ran away with the money.
Dude, after the first time, the second, I mean, after the first time, I'm out, right? But like, Maki Big Brother, right? I think whatever his name is. Like, I mean, the second time, third time, come on, dude. Like, everyone should know at this point that he's farming you.
Yeah.
Then he launched like a meme coin and all this other shit. Like, he just keeps farming people. Friend tag. But yeah, to me, like, if you were to ask me what the moat could be, I think it's going to be social in crypto, which is the play that Pump is taking. Like, because if you own the end user, especially like social streaming, whatever you want to call it, then I do think there is a moat there. Yeah. Robinhood is also doing this. Coinbase, the base app, is also doing this. I do think there's some truth there in terms of getting a moat, right? The question is like, who's going to build the first successful financial social app? Social
is very hard to crack. It's really, really hard. We've been trying this for like 10 years and no one has really cracked it. By cracking it, I mean like going mainstream.
Well, I think it's primarily because Facebook, Zuck, will copy the shit out of you and then leave you out to dry. Like Snapchat was supposed to win to a certain degree, right? Until, Facebook copied stories, Facebook copied spectacles, and like it impeded Snapchat's growth.
Unfortunately, Zuck is not thinking about social anymore. He's like all in on AI. So maybe that was the opportunity.
Which is great. Although he is thinking about social. So I've been using Ray-Bans now for like 3 weeks, the Meta Ray-Bans. And I traveled with it. And I'll tell you my own experience, which is like, I think it's the future. It's the next computing device of choice. I started to use my phone less. I've been taking videos, pictures that I wouldn't have otherwise if I didn't like continuously turn my phone on. I started using the AI features, like asking for the weather or whatever. If I get messages or if I need to call somebody, listen to music, podcasts, all of it's there. And then I started to like kind of see where this is going. There was a recent Facebook Connect conference that happened. TVPN covered it. I watched it. And Zuck talked a lot about like what the new device is going to have. It's going to have like a in-lens display. It's going to have a band where you could control certain things within the device. He even threw out like maybe in the future, you could connect your wristband to the TV and control your remote that way, which I thought was kind of cool. But if you download the Meta Ray-Ban app, there's already a social feed on there. And so you could argue like, and then it's hyper connected to Facebook, WhatsApp, and all of these other, and Instagram. So you could argue like he's kind of taking a step further and competing with, maybe, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but you could argue he could compete with Twitch and some of the other streaming platforms because you could auto stream your day to day just by pushing a button. It'll automatically connect to one of the Facebook apps. So, I do think that is a threat. And so I put a tweet out. I'm like, hey, I think Pump should have, tongue in cheek, but Pump should develop its own AI glasses, right? Like an auto stream and tokens could be an interesting concept there. But yeah, that's kind of my feedback on Meta Ray-Bans.
So you're saying Kyle is 10 years too early?
Kyle is 10 years too early. With the those that don't know, Kyle's first startup, I think out of college or whatever, he built him and Tushar. They built I think it was health, right, where you can analyze patients or something using Google Glasses. And I guess the startup didn't work out, and then they started Multicoin after that. But yeah, he was 10, 15 years too early on that idea.
I actually I bought 2 versions of the Meta headset. Was it one of them was Quest? Was it called Quest?
You mean the VR?
The VR, yeah. The big headset.
Quest.
That was like 2020, and then another one in 2018 or something. And also tried the Apple one, the Vision Pro. And my feedback is the same. Is like, this thing is too heavy. This is not going to work. And the moment they launched the Meta glasses, I was like, yeah, this is going to work. Like, it sounds stupid, but it's that really is the deal breaker. The weight of the headset, of the wearable, is the deal breaker. Like, wearing glasses is so much easier than wearing like a 5-pound headset. So
in hindsight, it's so like, it was obvious. Like, I mean, like,
it's really obvious.
It was so obvious that people just put a fucking camera. Like, well, that's what the spectacles did, and people were using it.
Yeah.
But it turns out what really took off was the ability to, I think, was a perfect storm. TikTok creators, Twitch creators, and then Ray-Bans. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it was done before then, I don't think, like, which spectacles did, just using it natively within Snapchat didn't really take off. But what took off was, like, half the content I watch on TikTok now is through Meta glasses, where people interview other people or they do pranks, whatever. And so I do feel
when did
like,
this happen?
What?
I've deleted my TikTok for half a year because it's too addictive. And half a year ago, I didn't see any Ray-Ban live streams or videos.
It's been happening for the past maybe 6 months.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting, which is why I bought it. I'm like, if this is going to become a thing, like, I need to pay attention here. So I bought it, and then I've been using it. And I'm like, I see why they bought it. And Speed talked about it too. I sure Speed talked about it. And someone asked him, like, why do you have all these cameras following you around all the time? Why don't you just wear glasses? He goes, yeah, I should. And he's like, I'm going to order it. And that was like the second signal for me to download it or to buy it.
Yeah.
So I do think this is going to be the thing. Like, everyone's going to stream 24/7. And like, eventually this, like, if you want to call it dystopian world, call it. But I think the future is going to be the most interesting lives are going to be streamed 24/7, and people are just going to watch it.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's just where it goes. And this is where I think Pump could play, right? Which is like, the best market cap tokens are going to be the ones that just have most interesting lives or entertaining lives.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about V2. They're developing, they're going to have a developer API. So now, for the first time, people can build apps on top of this,
yep,
which is very cool. So I'm going to be waiting in line because you have to go into a physical store, which I've never fucking gone to a physical store to buy shit. To buy these new V2 glasses.
Hey, what do you think of this idea? One of the founders pitched me this idea. You wear the AI glasses, and there's an app that tells you when you walk into a conference, it tells you this person who's coming up to you and wants to talk to you, the person is not worth talking to.
Oh, I would wear it. I would wear it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
So the app would do some facial recognition and then look up his LinkedIn or socials or whatever. I think it gives you a score. Like, what's the probability that you should be talking to this person?
100%. But I do think, I would argue, like, it does get rid of like spontaneous conversations, serendipity.
Yeah.
And I do think that's important for like creativity and like, sparks happen when this stuff happens, right? So I do think that's important. And I do think as we become more and more, as a society, we become more and more introverted, we get less of that. Like when I walk in, like I rarely walk into a store anymore, and if I do, I just don't want to talk to the person. Like, it's not. I don't want to do this, but it's just like, it's natural. But before,
By the way, that's the value prop of what's the thing called again? The FSD in Waymo. That's the value proposition of Waymo and Tesla robotaxi. For a lot of people, is that you don't have to talk to the driver.
Yes.
It's a great value proposition for me, at least.
Yeah. But if you do Uber, you don't have to. I think you could do Uber Comfort. If you do Uber Comfort, you could just say silence the driver, like don't talk to me.
Oh, can you do that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's Uber Comfort. So I typically do that and like don't talk to me. It's like $5-10 more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than Uber X.
Okay. Oh, Comfort is more expensive.
It's more expensive, but it has a little bit more room and stuff like that.
Okay.
Speaking of Uber and robotaxis, did you see the price on both?
Of what?
Of Waymo? Like a Waymo compared to a robotaxi? In like San Francisco, someone did like, was it San Francisco or Austin? I think it was Austin.
Yeah. Someone
did a side-by-side comparison of like taking route A to route B with the Waymo versus a robotaxi. Waymo was like $20. Robotaxi was like $4.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was insane.
That's Elon's whole thesis, that by not using LiDAR and only using a camera, you can dramatically decrease the cost and increase the margins.
The problem with LiDAR is that it's really expensive, and there's pros and cons to LiDAR in my opinion. The pros obviously is like perception is much more clear. Even when there's fog, you could cut through and see, the car can see. Whereas with the traditional camera system, it uses like ML to figure out, to approximate what the map is going to show, right?
Yeah.
And in certain regards, it's cheap, fast, and it works. It's like, I think of it as the Android of devices. Whereas I think Waymo is like more like the Apple of devices, which is more expensive, costly. It's not scalable. It's very expensive. It's like $200,000 per, like $150,000 to $200,000 per car.
Yeah.
Whereas with Teslas, it's Teslas, right? Like, you could get the cheapest robotaxi manufactured, and it's like going to cost you like $15K. Yeah. So the only difference is that I know, I have FSD and you have FSD, is that when it rains, you can't steer. Like you have to take over.
It's really bad. Yeah. When it rains.
So there are pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Would you feel safer in a Waymo or a Tesla?
I don't mind either way. Like Tesla seems pretty battle tested by now. And Waymo is also very nice.
Yeah.
I don't, for me, there's not a big difference in terms of safety. It ultimately probably boils down to availability and cost. Because Waymo is not in Waymo is only can only work in major cities for now, right? Because they need to map the entire city.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for them to scale into the suburbs.
Yeah. So just adding, like Waymo now, just for our audience, now can cover SFO to San Francisco downtown. Mm-hmm. Before it was just SF only.
Right.
They're now in New York.
Yeah.
Downtown New York. And that, I think those are the two markets, and maybe one other market.
No, they're also in Austin and Atlanta.
Oh, they're in Atlanta?
Yeah, they're in Atlanta.
Really? They chose Atlanta?
Yeah.
That D-tier city? Oh my God. Oh man. Okay, that's interesting. What do you think about this whole prediction market meta? I know you've been historically, I wouldn't say bearish, but neutral.
I was very bullish in 2017, but now it's like to consensus.
Course. Yeah, it's consensus.
Now it's to consensus. It's like, okay, fine. Yeah, you're bullish prediction market, but there's like, say something interesting. Tell me something interesting.
Did you participate in the Augur ICO?
Did I do Augur ICO? Probably.
Yeah, I did too.
Probably.
But I tried using the Augur. Do you remember using Augur?
That was the worst experience ever of using any product.
it's like you have to deposit and then like deposit again. It was just like, what the fuck?
You have to download an app, a desktop app, and by downloading the app, you're actually downloading the entire blockchain.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Of Ethereum.
Yes.
And downloading Ethereum back then was
like the
impossible.
Whole state? Yeah.
You would break like every 10 minutes or something. So like it would take a few hours for you to finish downloading the app. Then you can start using it. You have to deposit some ether.
But I remember depositing was such a painful process for some reason. Like there was a process with depositing. It was like deposit and you had to deposit again or something. I forgot what it was, but I remember that piece pissed me off. And I just said, fuck this, I'm not using it.
Yeah. The author was, the first version was really bad. But
it was true though. It was right. It was directionally correct.
It was the right thesis.
It was the second app built on Ethereum, if you remember.
Really?
Either the first or second app. No, the Dices was the first, right? I don't know. But it was like one of the first few apps on Ethereum.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now it's consensus. Kalshi, PolyMarket, front runners, competition. They just had their big moment on South Park. Where everyone's making a big deal out of it. I don't even watch South Park anymore. Do you? No. Okay. So crypto core, they have a bit of resentment towards Kalshi because of Kalshi with the charade against kind of against PolyMarket, right? PolyMarket is kind of more of the quote unquote like loved by the crypto community to a certain degree. So Kalshi is outside in, PolyMarket is in. Kalshi is taking a very interesting approach, which is like they have the CFTC license. And I think PolyMarket just got approved, but historically Kalshi has been approved for it first. They directly license to Robinhood. Robinhood offers this in their product line. Kalshi has had a regulatory moat for some time. They have an app in the US before PolyMarket. Their app is amazing. I have used it many, many times. It's a beautiful experience. I've used PolyMarket also for a very long time. Great experience for crypto users. I'm hoping PolyMarket comes out with, they have a read-only app on the App Store. Hopefully they come out with a full native apps that I can, use with the on-ramp, off-ramp. But that's kind of the competitive landscape. I think PolyMarket is starting to, Kalshi is starting to win a bit more against PolyMarket, but I think the market is still very early and young.
Kalshi is not even on-chain yet, right?
From what I've gathered, no, they're not on-chain. But they're making a move to go on-chain.
Yeah.
People argue that, the market isn't, like, prediction market isn't that interesting. They don't think it's going to get big enough compared to perps or trading. But I think Kalshi just did $2 billion in volume this month or something. I don't know where I saw that, but they're doing pretty well. And so is PolyMarket in that regard.
I mean, $2 billion per month is very small.
Of course, it's
a very small number.
But it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I'll get the right number for you, but I'm not sure what that is at this point. But it's not bad. So where do you think this plays out? How do you think this plays out?
I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to do the same thing as what Kalshi and PolyMarket are doing, because ultimately what people want is novel ways to bet on random things. So it could be in the form of a binary market, which is like quote unquote prediction markets. It could be in the form of perps. It could be in the form of fantasy sports. Like all these things for me are fundamentally the same thing. So for me, the interesting thing is...
I mean, you could argue meme tokens are the same.
Yeah, meme coins are the same thing. For me, the interesting opportunity is just figuring out new ways or new games, new form factors for people to bet on.
Yeah. I'll give you some fun insights that I've learned. Obviously we have a ton of teams building prediction market products. TradeFox is one that's a terminal that, think of it as like kind of the Axiom for or Photon for prediction markets.
Yeah.
So they're already in beta. They have a bunch of users. They're going to expand very soon. We have 2 decentralized exchanges, decentralized prediction markets, Polycule / Worm. 2 very different approaches on how they feel like the market's going to go. We also have Pull.Fun that's taking more of a fun consumer way to bet with friends. You could do challenges, you could do dares.
Yep.
So I feel like we covered pretty much the entire spectrum, and we funded these startups a while ago, like a year ago, when it was I would say borderline non-consensus.
Yeah.
And it's good that we're seeing this grow, but you could also argue like Kalshi and incumbents could just take the market and not leave anything for anyone else. And so I think it's going to force founders to really think about, can they build something that is something that's completely novel and different that people haven't used yet?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where it's going to go. If I had to like guess.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think the quote unquote prediction market is the wrong framing of the competitive landscape.
At the end of
the day. The real competitive landscape is Kalshi, PolyMarket are actually competing with Hyperliquid and Binance and Robinhood. That's the real competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just being the one-stop shop for speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue Pump is the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's competitive to Pump.
Yeah,
and Robinhood clearly. I watched Vlad's recent interviews. He clearly wants to win everything, like binary markets, public markets, like stocks, futures, perps, private markets. He tokenized OpenAI and got a lot of shit from Sam Altman. He wants to win everything, every speculative market.
So you could argue all of this could converge into one.
I mean, that's the end game. They're all going to converge to one.
Yeah.
So the interesting question for startups is figure out a wedge to that end game, something that people haven't done yet.
Yeah.
A new type of game, financial game that people haven't built.
I'm in agreement with that. I think everyone's competing with each other. I mean, even if you look at the liquidity, like the way how liquidity plays, like all the speculative liquidity was on Solana, right? Trenching, pump, and they were playing that game. As soon as Aster came out, you could see huge
They went to trade perps on Aster.
Well, they went to go buy Aster, right? Like a ton of volume went to buy Aster. And then, like, if you look at the trading volume on like Axiom and Pump, it went down by quite a bit, right?
Yep.
So effectively, it's just like one, liquidity pool, and like people want to play all of these different games, and eventually it'll come to a world where the game is just in one place.
Yep.
And I think that makes the most sense, right? And so I'd be curious as to how this is all going to play out in the long run, but I feel like that's where we're converging to.
Yeah.
I mean, Zora is doing the same thing, right? Zora, Pump, all of these other SocialFi apps. So it'll be very interesting to see. And there's another app called, I don't know if you saw, twocents. I think I shared it with you, and you shared it with me. I don't know. It's something I forgot, but it's an anonymous social app where you connect your brokerage accounts, and it aggregates your brokerage accounts, like your AUM of what you're worth or your net worth, and then you can chat with people.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. But we had this idea before, though, with Whale.
I pitched that idea to so many of our founders. No one picked it up. It's such a great idea.
Yeah, and we did build this in house called Whale Calls. If you remember,
David built it.
David from our team, he's built something where you could use ZK proofs to verify your wallet and your and your net worth, and then you could send out a tweet through a proxy contract that would tweet it out for you anonymously. That was like our version of it, because we thought we were very bullish on it. You were especially very bullish on the idea, and so they built it, and they applied to Alliance, and we talked to them and stuff like that. But like, that's a really cool way, right? To use finance as a way to mend both finance and social together. And I feel like Robinhood could do that pretty easily, because they already have access to all of your info as it is. Yeah. So I feel like maybe Coinbase and with the base app and Robinhood are like the two front runners for that.
We should also talk about Overheard, which is in our current batch, which also sits at the intersection of crypto and social. And probably most people don't know this, but they're currently the number one Web3 social app by daily active users. So the founder is actually the founder of eCAC, the OG eCAC. So they're building this. They're effectively building eCAC again, but on chain. So the idea is anonymous, fully anonymous, but highly moderated social app. I think right now in Web 2, the only true anonymous, not pseudonymous, but true anonymous social app is 4chan. I feel like
Yes.
that is the case today. But Fortran, unfortunately, is not moderated at all. I mean, it's like
it's moderated, but
yeah, it's somewhat moderated, but like it's you know the niches that they go after. So Overheard wants to do fully anonymous social app, but highly moderated. But the clever part is how they uniquely leverage crypto to bootstrap the network effect, but also increase retention. The way they do that is they use USDC micropayment to reward the creators on their app. So the moment you post make a post, you get paid, even if it's a small amount, like a couple dollars or even a few cents in USDC. And the really interesting part of this is that the USDC, like this is not a zero-sum game. The USDC actually comes from their ads revenue. So they do ads just like any other social apps do, but they use part of the ad revenue to reward the creators in the form of USDC. And that is for me, that's one of the most interesting flywheels I've ever seen in crypto social. And now like they're growing like crazy. They're growing like
they have 250,000 daily active users, right? Or
300 now. 300,000.
Yeah.
And they're like growing like 10%, 10 to 20% week on week.
It's funny. Now I open up before I used to open up my Overheard app, I would just get random, hey, is anyone there? Now people are tweeting or messaging about like what's happening in their dorm. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but I'm like, oh shit, I feel bad for your roommate, dude. Like,
yeah. I mean, originally ECAC went viral in universities. That was their primary user segment.
Yeah.
And that is playing out again.
I think there was like 4 tries of this, right? With anonymous apps for college students. But every time there was some like blocking point, right? Maybe they got canceled, The
problem with ECAC was moderation and retention.
Yeah.
And now they're fixing both problems.
Yeah.
The moderation, you can do it with AI, and that's new. That wasn't possible before. And then retention, they do it with micropayment.
Yeah.
And that was also not possible before. Hey, should we talk about DATs? Or is it too boring?
Yeah, let's talk about DATs. I also want to talk about some of the new apps that I'm seeing that I think is cool.
Let's talk about the apps. DATs are so boring. I can't talk about it.
I like, what is there to talk about? Like, you have Tom Lee, Kyle Samani, I don't know, a bunch of other leads that are leading this. Is it bearish, bullish? Who knows?
It's bullish. It's bullish.
They're not going to sell tokens, right?
It's net bullish, but it's definitely a late cycle phenomenon.
Yeah.
But the interesting second order effect is it's probably very good for the yield generating apps or protocols like Aave and Camino.
Oh yeah,
because they're going to deposit a lot of the ETH and Sol into these apps, and this is what cannot be done on Bitcoin. This is what Sir Michael Saylor cannot do because there isn't much on Bitcoin to generate yield. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and the second order effects of it, at least for what I've read from some of the Solana folks, like I think Vibhu mentioned that like they could take on a lot of the work that Solana Foundation used to do, like to grow the Solana ecosystem, as an example.
Yep.
So there are ways that could actually help scale Solana or other chains as well. So
they can use the money to make investments.
Yeah.
To acquire good cash flow generating businesses and all that stuff, or like depositing into yield protocols. It's fine. It's almost like
a hedge fund PE firm.
Yeah, like a hedge fund PE firm, Berkshire Hathaway kind of.
Yeah, that's generally how I see it. I think it's fine. I don't really pay attention to it. Yeah. Although Tom Lee is pretty funny.
Did you see Andrew Kang's?
But he's always bearish ETH. Like he was bearish ETH and it went up like 2x last time. So I don't know. I don't know how big his short is.
Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, the language he used was a little bit offensive. But to be fair, it's correct.
It's correct.
The criticism of Tom Lee is correct.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the problem is that Tom Lee isn't Ethereum, right? I mean, there's Joe Lubin that's also pushing something similar. there are
Yeah.
other like larger DATs that are pushing this as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think Tom Lee is borderline questionable.
Yeah.
Like every time ETH goes down, he throws up a chart. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Wait, did ETH actually make all-time high?
Maybe smudge high from what I remember. Holy shit, 4,000?
I feel like ETH broke all-time high for
I believe, yeah, it did. But barely, right? Like,
barely.
yeah, it was like 48.59 and then 5,000.
Yeah.
Um,
Should we talk about Tempo?
we should talk about Tempo. We should talk about, I mean, like everyone's coming out with their own chain, right?
Yeah.
So I think our thesis was that large brands are going to come up with their own chains and they're going to own the end user, so they own the distribution.
Yeah, we actually said this in our internal group chat a year ago. Like we said, there's no way Stripe is not going to launch layer one. Yeah. And we had no insider information. It's just like really obvious that they're going to do it.
And we said it on not our last pod, or maybe the pod before the last, we talked about how large company, like it's harder for crypto native startups to launch their own chains now at this point. It'll have to be large brands that own the end user that have distribution.
That's right.
So Stripe is, from what I've read so far, it's a permissionless chain. Anyone can build on it. They're going to enable.
The validators are permissioned.
The validators in the short term are permissioned, but eventually I think they want to grow that out. It's similar to like Hyperliquid. Like Hyperliquid had like 4 validators and then they grew it out. But they're going to allow other stablecoins to be on there as well. So it's just not going to be their own stablecoin. Any stablecoin can be deployed on there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I said earlier that Tether is a wonderful business, barring the interest rate thing. But come to think of it, Stripe is probably a big threat.
Yes,
is a big threat to Tether.
I just feel like once you have the stablecoins as a service, like it's going to start to compete and impede on Tether's existing business, which is probably why they're raising, partly.
Yeah, honestly, that fundraise, to me, it doesn't project strength because they know that interest rate is going down and there's a ton of competition, especially following the Genius Act. Right? The Genius Act is going to encourage a ton of new stablecoins.
And if those that don't know Genius Act is effectively a way for any stablecoin fintech company to register with the US. They have to comply by offering like quarterly audits and statements, and then they can deploy their own stablecoin in a regulated fashion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Cloudflare just announced their own stablecoin for agentic payments, right? You have X402 with.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just right now.
Right now?
Just right now. Like I just mentioned it 30 minutes ago. But Zoomer just announced it. Zoomerfied. Cloudflare reveals new stablecoin, Net Dollar, with a focus on cross-network agentic transactions.
Wow,
it's a fucking big deal. You have X402, which is Basis stablecoin, or it's a
payment protocol.
It's a protocol where you use stablecoin as payments. Google's adopted it. Some other larger companies have adopted this for agentic payment. It's becoming a reality where you need agents to pay on your behalf, right?
Yep.
And stablecoins is the right infra to do it. The question is, who's going to own that? Yep. I don't think any startup can own this at this point.
We actually had like a handful of startups that pitched us this idea of stablecoin as a micropayment for between agents.
It's a very obvious idea.
It's a very obvious idea, but it just feels like something that incumbents are going to own.
Yeah, you got to build something where everyone has to comply and use, like a protocol, right? Yeah. Which is what kind of Coinbase did. But if you own the end user, if you own some sort of part of the internet stack, then like you could develop your own and just force people to use it.
Yeah.
So
it's cool. It's cool.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Cloudflare is doing that.
Yeah.
I've been bullish Cloudflare for a very long time. I just never pulled the trigger to buy the stock.
Would you buy it now?
It's very hard. Like, it's hard to say what the fair price is. I'm only bullish Cloudflare because every time you go to any website, you see a Cloudflare anti-bot page.
And then they also just offered like botting as a service or something, scraping as a service also. So like you could use their service to automatically scrape sites and you pay them a fee and then they pay it off to the websites or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cloudflare is pretty essential stack at this point.
I have a list of 20 stocks that I follow. And in case they go to zero, I'm going to go all in. And Cloudflare is one of them.
Let's see. I was going to talk about... yeah. So we talked about prediction markets. Did you see White Rabbit winning the Emmy for emerging media?
Oh yeah, that was using
People pleaser.
Yeah, that was using Ethereum
as a crowdfunding
as a crowdfunding mechanism. That was cool. That was very cool.
That's very cool. Great highlight for crypto, right?
Great for Ethereum as well.
Great for Ethereum as well. I just want to call it out because I think that there are good parts of crypto outside of speculation.
Speculation is not necessarily bad.
It's not, but
it's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Yeah. What do you think about Solana now? I'll give you I could tell you my gut reaction right now is I feel like the trenches on Solana feel tired. It has become extremely hard to compete and win on the token side.
Yeah.
It's become very PvP, 100K, 200K toppers. Ever since Axum introduced the multi-wallet strategy, it's just become harder for any traditional retail to participate.
I think the descending roller coaster meme.
Yes.
That's exactly how I feel about the trenches.
Yeah, and Pump is trying to change it, right? They're offering they acquired KOL scan. They're offering a leaderboard with unrealized P&L as a way to show I don't know how they're going to reward people, but show at least highlight people that have held on to coins. So I thought that was interesting. So we'll see where it goes from here. But specifically, the streaming meta is interesting to me because with Pump moving forward with the streaming meta, there's a few interesting metrics that I'm following. One is total amount of users and views. Recently, they just surpassed Rumble, which I thought was an interesting metric.
Wait, who did?
Pump
overtook
Rumble.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that. They were 1% of Twitch.
Yes, that was interesting. The quality of creators has become much better, and we're seeing some traditional Twitch, YouTube streamers join Pump, which to me is a signal. And I talked to some streamers, some creators as well. I'm actually potentially investing into a management company that manages a whole suite of creators. And I spoke to all of them, and they mentioned to me that the reason why they're launching on Pump and they're using Pump is they want to be the next big creator on the next big streaming platform. That's their incentive. And so I put a tweet.
There's always a subset of creators that want to be early in a new platform.
Yes.
Because it's hard to compete with the incumbent creators on the existing platform like YouTube and TikTok and so on.
That's right.
They're grandfathered in.
Agreed. So I do think there's a chance for Pump to enter and win this market. Yeah. The question is going to be how, and how are tokens going to be used as a wedge into this. So it's yet to be seen, but there are some interesting metas that's played out over the past few months. There's a token called Streamer, which is effectively a token that launched. It takes the fees and it gives it as gifts to traditional streamers. So it buys subs on behalf of these streamers. So Kai Cenat, they effectively donated a bunch of money to Kai Cenat, and Kai Cenat the next day wore a streamer coin shirt. And that brought more eyeballs. People bought more of that token as an example. Another one is called Bagworks. It's a group of guys that are streaming all the time. They're wild. They effectively leaked the Drake song somehow, and they ended up going viral. A lot of news publications started to write about them. So there's some interesting things that are coming up. And like I said, and we've said this historically, which is all this stuff that you see are flashes in the pan of what something that could work if it was to work, right? So, obviously the tension went away, but these are the types of things that I look for to validate a meta or not. So I thought that was also very interesting.
What else?
Some of the apps that I'm watching, one is NFT Strategy. I don't know if you saw that. I think that's on Ethereum, but effectively they launch a token on behalf of a NFT collection. They use the fees to buy back the collection itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's effectively like an inverse, like fractional platform of some sort, which is cool. I think it's really cool. Punkster is doing really, really well. It owns a bunch of Punk NFTs. They're doing this with Meebits. They're doing this with like pretty much across the entire NFT collection. And then they just launched a campaign where they do one NFT a day. I believe the founder's name is Adam. So I think it's cool, and we need to see more of this. Some of the other cool things that we're seeing, obviously this is one of our alliance startups called Polymarket, which is building a decentralized prediction market. I'm really excited about the next big update, PMX. Very bullish on that team and where they're taking it. And it's one of our first Believe investments that we made. Did you see the AI Survivor? I sent it in our chat this morning.
What is it?
Effectively, it's an AI agent that must pay for their own inference. A dollar for every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And if it runs out of money, they shut it down.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they need to figure out how to make money.
Yeah. Cool experiment. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Another one is called Play Mini, which is it's on Base, I believe. Interesting app. It's like a tokenized social game where you like fundraise, like it's like a founder fundraise, but it's like more like a betting game. It's like betting for a founder. The money then gets pooled to the founder to go build a startup. Thought that was interesting. Another one that's really cool. Oh, Bands is another one. It's similar to NFT Strategy, but it does it across NFTs and tokens. So you can effectively create a streamer coin ETF, and it buys all the streamer coins.
That's our startup, right?
That's our startup, Alliance Startup. Those are some of the things that I'm saying. How about you?
I want to call out the stablecoin startups. This wasn't the case half a year ago, but I feel like half of the. So first of all, we funded a ton of stablecoin startups. We probably funded the most stablecoin startups in the world of any funds.
Like Rain is a perfect example. Is one of our unicorns out of Alliance that is not spoken about quite often because people don't use it often, but it is one of the unicorns of this batch of stablecoin startups.
Yeah. And the thing I observed is that almost half of our stablecoin startups are going exponential right now.
Yep.
In terms of traction, in terms of transaction volume and users.
Yep.
I've never seen anything like this in crypto.
It's all up to the right. All up to the right.
They're all growing like 20, 30, 40% month over month.
Yep.
I don't know what changed. Maybe it's the regulations. Maybe it's the bull market. Maybe most likely it's their execution. Like the product is just really good now.
And I think fintech apps are starting to demand it too, right?
Yeah. And the thing I've been thinking about is like stablecoin products might be the first product that has, or one of the first groups of crypto products that has that is in fact very sticky, very strong retention. Because for a lot of people in emerging markets, you can't live without it.
Yeah,
you can't live without stablecoin. Whereas like on-chain apps, like speculative apps, it's easy to switch, right?
Yep.
But anyway, there's something very
and in emerging worlds, it's a necessity, right?
It's a necessity.
Like,
it's not a nice to have. It's a hair on fire.
It's a hair on fire problem.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's partly where all the growth is coming from. Like, one of our fastest growing startups just recently got funded by a tier 1 VC. Their startup is in South America, Colombia.
Yeah.
Solving a very hair on fire problem with stablecoins.
Yeah. We have like stablecoin startups in like almost every major region in the world. Yeah. I think Turkey might be the only one we don't have one. We need
Turkey.
We need one in Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey's the only one. Yeah.
Like we have Latin America, we have Eastern Europe, we have Africa, Southeast Asia.
We even have China.
Yeah, we have China now. But it's a bit
it's a bit different. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, there's some regulatory stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very bullish.
I think
Stable
Turkey is
coins.
the remaining major region.
Yeah, agreed.
So if you're building in Turkey,
hit us up.
be sure to apply.
Outside of stable coins, we talked about tokenization, speculation, prediction markets. Here's something that I've been spending a lot of time with our founders on. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but it seems like a lot of the ideas are plucked. And people are like, I need to know what's the non-consensus idea. Like a year ago, if you asked me, I would say prediction markets.
Yeah.
And which is why we funded so many prediction markets. Now, if a startup founder comes to me and they ask me like, what should I build for next? This is my advice. I want to hear your advice, but my advice is take something existing and make into something completely novel and different. So a perfect example of this was for the past 3 months, my idea of trading has completely been changed. I think it's going to become more like esports. I think people are going to join teams. Like there's going to be trading teams and they're all going to do different functions. There'll be one trading group that will manage one group of assets and either isolated or shared if they have enough trust, and then they go out and they compete, right? And there'll be campaigns where you could win money. I talked to TSM. I pitched him this idea, by the way, the founder of TSM. He loves the idea, but he's retired. So but this is like where I think the future is going to be. It's going to be streaming. You're going to be streaming. You're going to be competing with a pool of money, and you're going to try to win larger sums of money. Maybe the exchanges will want to win this trading volume and attention by sponsoring this. There's a reason why I think Pump acquired KOLScan is so that they can know who the people are that are trading and eventually offer this. It's another reason why Axiom started labeling wallets now with KOLs so they know who's trading what and effectively start to create this kind of social dynamic. But I do think the future of trading, in my opinion, is going to go this way. And so what I tell founders is like, think of new spins on these types of ideas that could be very novel, very different, and very dystopian.
Yeah.
So I think we're going dystopian is where I think we go next. Like streaming 24/7. Like this shit is dystopian, right? But I think that's where it's going to go.
With a Ray-Ban.
With a Ray-Ban. Like you just stream your life 24/7. You trade with friends with a pool of money. Everything that you watch will have a prediction market. So you could try to figure out what is next, what's going to happen next, and you win money. When we launched LiveBet a year ago, the concept was streaming, you watch, and then you predict, and then people put up prediction markets, and then you could predict what's going to happen next. So I saw some interesting elements here. One element was when there was a commercial, because we were using like an illegal line for TV because we we couldn't get the license for the streaming. People were playing predictions on commercials. People were playing predictions on like random shit, like what color do we think the jersey color is going to be when they first play the game?
Yep.
One of the games, it was streaming from like, there was a game right after the Grammys. So the last part of the Grammys, people were like predicting who was going to be the winner of the Grammys of each song. Like all this, like it's just natural human behavior.
Yeah.
So I do think everything that we watch.
And if you have a group of friends watching the same thing together, the betting actually makes it more fun.
Yeah. So I do think that's where the future is. Every piece of content we're going to watch is going to be speculative in nature.
Yeah.
And maybe with AI, we could decide what the future is going to be with the content also, like, like future key and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things, but I do think the future of entertainment is speculative. So I don't know what that world looks like, but that's the world that I'm telling a lot of our founders to go for.
Yep. I'm in agreement.
Cool. I think that's all I have to add. Any final parting thoughts?
I mean, the question that everyone is asking or want us to answer is when cycle top, and we haven't given a straight answer.
So when do we think I'm on my timeline right now, everyone thinks it's over.
Because the market is down 50 bips.
Legit, everyone thinks it's over.
Yeah, so the market dumped today because the economy is really good.
But what did Powell say? Like Powell said recently that it's priced
fairly overvalued.
Yeah, like it was like, what the fuck? Like,
is it fairly valued or overvalued?
so like, yeah, so like, and the market's dumped right after he said that.
Yeah, market dump. Greatest KOL.
Yeah, greatest KOL of our lifetimes. So it's hard to predict. But I do feel like at least
I've had to throw a dart. This
Okay,
is for fun. This is not for like
Right.
actual.
I if I were to throw a dart, I would say Trump will not let the market crash
Until the midterms.
until post midterms. If I had to throw a dart,
Wait, post midterms would be late 2026.
yeah, I feel like it'll plateau. Yeah, I like so Trump was elected what 2025? Is it 25?
24 last year.
24. Oh yeah, 24. 26 sounds right.
But what part of 26?
Hard to say. Probably early to mid.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think if the simulation is correct, we'll top on the resignation day or retirement date of Jerome Powell.
Which is May.
Yeah.
Yeah. The concept is that he's going to lead with fireworks.
Yeah.
Right? Like he wants to be the top.
He wants to be the top.
He wants to live. The rumors is he wants to leave spectacularly, right?
Yes.
With a spectacle.
That's right.
And I'm with that. I think he deserves every right. He's done, in my opinion, he's probably done one of the best jobs.
Yeah. He engineered a soft landing when every single economist thought that was impossible.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
All right. So May, yeah. So like I think it aligns with me as well. Like early to mid. I'd probably like tax season around there. Like would be probably
tax season,
right? Somewhere around there. But we need one very big deep fake out, and that's probably what's playing out right now.
Yep. That's right.
YOLO. All right. Catch you next time, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, the views expressed in the Good Game podcast are personal to the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any other person or entity. Nothing here should be construed or relied upon as investment, legal, tax, or other advice. Thanks for listening to Good Game. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next week.